You're listening to The Manning Report with your host, James David Manning. The news behind the headlines.
Brett Kavanaugh, an article appeared in the New York Times that was excerpted from a recent book that has been published about the life and times of Justice Kavanaugh in his days at Yale. And New York Times this book has dropped a bomb blockbuster about Kavanaugh's sexual assaults upon women while at Yale that the FBI did not investigate. But that's a part of what we want to discuss today. But I think more importantly, what we want to discuss is I want you to just look at a few clips of Justice Kavanaugh when he appeared last year about this time in September before the Senate Judiciary Committee on his confirmation hearing. And when he was asked questions, how he responded like a little spoiled brat. I mean, pardon me, I don't mean to be racist. It's not my intent. And if you think I'm being racist, please forgive me because I don't want to be. But this guy responds like a little spoiled white boy in knickers and a pair of brown and black Buster Brown shoes and kneecap socks. He's just a typical, Justice Kavanaugh snorts and sniffs and carries on like a little rich white boy that needs to have I mean, he is despicable. How could anybody want somebody as uncontrollable, and he's supposed to be a judge? Acting like a little 8-year-old white boy? I don't mean to be racist. And Mr. Engineer, roll this clip. Look, y'all just watch his facial expression. Watch how he rolls his eyes, he sulks, he pouts. Like a little white girl, I should say. Forget about the white boy. Like a little white girl. Mr. Engineer, please.
And my name have been totally and permanently destroyed by vicious and false additional accusations. You have replaced advice and consent with search and destroy. Since my nomination in July, there's been a frenzy on the left to come up with something, anything, to block my confirmation. People have been willing to do anything, to make any physical threat against my family, to send any violent email to my wife, to make any kind of allegation.
Hold it right there, Mr. Engineer. By the way, the woman that's seated off his right shoulder is his wife, right? She's right there off his right shoulder. She's looking not at him, she's looking away. Even she don't believe this creep. And she does not change that look the entire time he's sitting there. She doesn't look at him. She's looking away. She's not looking at the senators inquisiting him or inquiring of him. She's not looking at him and giving him support. She knows he's a piece of trash. Continue to roll, Mr. Engineer.
Against me and against my friends to blow me up and take me down. You sowed the wind. For decades to come, I fear that the whole country will reap the whirlwind. The behavior of several of the Democratic members of this committee at my hearing a few weeks ago was an embarrassment. But at least it was just a good old-fashioned attempt at borking. Those efforts didn't work. When I did at least okay enough at the hearings that it looked like I might actually get confirmed, a new tactic was needed. Some of you were lying in wait and had it ready. A long series of false last-minute smears designed to scare me and drive me out of the process before any hearing occurred. You've tried hard. You've given it your all. No one can question your effort.
Now notice,
she doesn't look at that creep
one time. That's his wife in the dark dress to the right of him.
This whole
she doesn't look at that creep one time. She knows he's a wimp.
Fueled
she knows he's a little girl.
Anger about President Trump and the 2016 election. Fear that has been unfairly stoked about my judicial record. revenge on behalf of the Clintons. My family's been destroyed by this, Senator. Destroyed.
And
whoever wants, whatever the committee decides, I'm all in immediately. I'm all in immediately.
Yeah.
I'm here. I wanted to be here. I wanted to be here the next day. It's an outrage that I was not allowed to come and immediately defend my name and say I didn't do this and give you all this evidence. I'm not even in D.C. on the weekends in the summer of 1982. This happened on a weekday? Well, is it when I'm not at a Blair High School for a summer league game? I'm not at Toby's house working out.
He's a federal court judge, getting ready to go to the highest court on the planet, acting like this. Look at him.
I wanted to be here right away.
We hear from
sounds like a drunk sailor.
But the FBI isn't interviewing them and isn't giving us any facts.
Watch him.
So all we have.
You're interviewing me. You're interviewing me. You're doing it, Senator.
What you're saying, if I understand it, is that the allegations by Dr. Ford, Ms. Ramirez, and Ms. Swetnick are wrong.
Yeah, that is emphatically what I'm saying. Emphatically. The Swetnick thing is a joke. That is a farce.
Would you like to say more about it?
No. We drank beer. My friends and I, the boys and girls. Yes, we drank beer. I liked beer. Still like beer. We drank beer. We liked beer.
Sound like a little old girl, a little 17-year-old boy.
I like beer. I like beer. I don't know if you like beer, Senator.
What the hell?
What do you like to drink?
Next one is
Senator, what do you like to drink?
What do you consider to be too many beers?
I don't know. Whatever the chart says.
I want to know what you want to do.
I'm telling the truth.
I want to know what you want to do, Judge.
I'm innocent. I'm innocent of this charge.
Then you're prepared for an FBI investigation?
They don't reach conclusions. You reach the conclusions,
No,
Senator.
but they do investigate questions.
I'm innocent.
And you can't have it both ways, Judge. You can't say here at the beginning,
I wanted a hearing
moment,
Look,
I welcome any kind of investigation.
This thing was
then
sprung
walk
on
away
me.
from this.
This thing was sprung at the last minute after being held by staff.
Judge,
and I called for a hearing immediately.
Why would you resist that
Here's
kind of
some dots.
investigation? Why would you resist that kind of investigation?
Sir, I wanted the hearing last week.
I'm asking about the FBI investigation.
The committee figures out how to ask the questions. I'll do whatever. I've been on the phone multiple times with committee counsel. I'll talk to
Judge Kavanaugh, will you support an FBI investigation right now?
I will do whatever the committee wants to.
Personally, do you think that's the best thing for us to do? You want to answer?
Look, Senator, I've said I wanted a hearing, and I said I was welcome anything. I'm innocent.
Now, this man sits on the highest court on the planet, the United States Supreme Court. This is not the kind of temperament. I can wonder, some people argued, well, he was under great duress, he was being attacked, and I can understand that. But he was putting up a vigorous defense of himself. I can understand that as well. But not putting it up in a little girl's dress. That's the thing I think is important. His temperament needs to represent that someone who has served on the federal court, who has to look at people. You think his life is at stake. This man will preside over people who are going to be put on capital punishment execution. He's going to be looking at major issues that will affect abortion, birth control. He's going to be looking at major issues that will affect funding. He's going to be looking at major issues that will affect the lives and well-beings of literally millions of people who also will be under duress. And you're telling me this is the best he can comport himself? He should have a better decorum about himself. Sure, he has every right to defend himself. Sure, he has every right to call these allegations against him as being false. They're not, but he has every right to do that. But the deportment, the way in which he conducted himself, is that of a little girl or a little boy in knickers. I mean, there's a piece to this that's missing as well that should have started this piece that I didn't see in this clip that would have given us a clearer of his little little boy who got his hand caught in the cookie jar. He got caught, and now rather than him confess he gets caught, he gets an attitude at his parents. I see people do that all the time. Rather than, okay, I got caught, I got busted, they get an attitude at the parent, and they get sulky, they sulk around, they roll their eyes, they want to intimidate their parents. And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to intimidate the Senate that's investigating him. But he does it in such a way that's so childish that nobody of this character should be allowed to preside on the Supreme Court that makes decisions about whether men will go to the death chamber or not. He just doesn't measure up. But it's a sham. Tribulation Trump, that degenerate, that despicable human being, wanted Kavanaugh on the court, and he rigged the FBI investigation to get him there. It is absolutely, and this is what's going on in every part of our administration and in the Trump world. And not just, we've got the same thing with all the cabinet members, with Bill Barr as the Attorney General. This is a widespread disease that this despicable degenerate called Tribulation Trump is now spreading. Justice Kavanaugh, no matter what your politics may be, has got no business. But this Humpty Dumpty of an orange-haired orangutan, this incompetent, this pathological, this heartless piece of trash called Donald Trump is just putting trash on the court, trash in the cabinet, trash everywhere you can possibly look. It is despicable. But the thing I think is most telling about this, and while it is not the pinnacle of the behavior of white people, it certainly represents the underbelly of many white people who revel in this kind of despicable degeneracy and lowness of character. This boy, Kavanaugh, was accused of raping Dr. Blasey Ford in a room one night in a hotel and a house party somewhere, I think in Maryland, outside D.C. He said he didn't do it. They didn't bring back conclusive evidence that put him on, but she said he did it. She said, and she had nothing to gain from coming forward to say he did it. We're also going to see in another piece where he took out his genitals, his penis, and pushed it in the face of a Puerto Rican woman while he was in college. Drunk off of beer, pissy drunk, takes his private parts out. We'll come to that in just a moment. And this is the kind of person that Trump wants on the Supreme Court, and you can understand why. But this is also indicative of, and if you think I'm racist, please forgive me. It is not my intent. I'm just being real, just trying to keep it real. But this is the underbelly of much of white character in white men, especially with white privilege, and especially towards white women. Harvey Weinstein would do the same thing, would take his private parts out and would masturbate, hide the children, everybody, in front of actresses and people who wanted to become stars, would sit on the couch, and Harvey Weinstein would unzip himself and just masturbate. This is the underbelly of a sickness, of a perverted culture of men that, thank God, is now being exposed. But and now that Tribulation Trump, who is the king of sexual predators, the king of sexual assault, is now putting a sexual predator on the Supreme Court. Not to say that Clarence Thomas is not one also, because he is. And Bush put him on there. But but Trump is doing this across the board. And because the other people, because he's got a base of people who are looking to save whiteness, they're trading morality, they're giving up their Bibles, they're giving up their ethics, all to try to save the mass immigration of brown and black people into European nations like England, Germany, France, and America. But you have to remember the floodgates have been open. And Trump can't save it. Trump can't do it. At any rate, it is a disgrace that Justice Kavanaugh is on the Supreme Court. God save the court and God save America. I'm James David Manning, everybody. I'm the Lord's servant. This is a bit of a news blog we do looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.